Hey, Mark. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here. It's great to have you on the show.
Very fun to be here. I'm always fun to try new things. This will be something new. I really enjoy it.
What originally inspired you to start a career in coaching?
Wow, that's a good question. It really wasn't ever a desire to be a coach. I was a big time jock. I played a lot of basketball. I played a lot of baseball. Then I went out there and spent 10 years on the Pro Bowlers Tour. Had a little bit of success. Got into some other things. Got into finance. But people kept asking for lessons.
Okay.
So I would do an occasional lesson. I can't say that I enjoyed it, but I can say that it was very easy for me. I was very good at communicating. I got to the answer really fast. People liked it. They saw results and they kept wanting lessons. And I started it, stopped it, started. And then one day I had a different job. I started doing a lot of lessons and coaching. And I think the thing that changed it for me was video. I was pretty good at looking at video. I was very good at breaking down video. That's, a typical jock in every other sport, they break down video.
Sure.
So I got intrigued with video. I got intrigued with finding out why the best bowlers were the best bowlers. And so then that bled over into my coaching. And next thing you know, it's my 16th year being a full-time coach. So it was never a plan. It just kind of morphed into it. And I'm very lucky. I think I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Well, I know you also bowled on tour. And I was just curious, what was the most important lesson you learned while bowling on tour that helped you now as a coach?
I don't know if any of those lessons were how to give all my money to Marshall Holman, Mark Roth, and Erland. Then it was David Ozio and Dave Husted and Dave Ferraro and Brian Voss and M. Leto. And I'm a hard worker. So those guys were all much better bowlers than I was. I was a better athlete. I like to compete. I never gave up a shot in my entire life. So I've always been able to work really hard at something. So when coaching became something I thought I decided I wanted to do, I knew in bowling I didn't give it 100% of my effort all the time. It was a different era. Hell, it was a different century. We partied pretty hard in the 80s. So I may not have gotten as much sleep as I probably should have. You just leave it at that. So when I decided to coach, I just decided I was going to outwork everybody. So because I don't think I gave myself a good run on the Pro Bowlers Tour as far as how hard I should work, that I thought if I was going to be a coach, there would be no coach that works harder than me. It's my 16th year. I'm pretty sure that I'm somewhere in the top percentage of how much I work.
Yeah.
I do a fair share amount of lessons.
What would you say is the core fundamentals of your coaching theology?
Oh, it breaks down to four things. I mean, you got to have balance, you got to have timing, you got to have accuracy, and you got to control the break point. And everything you do around that everything I work on with you is going to make one of those four things better. If I keep making those four things better, if you're in balance and you're in time and you can hit a target and you control the break point, you're going to like bowling.
Sure.
That's it. And that's how I look at it. Everything else is just gibberish to me. Okay, those are the only four things that matter. If you break down all the best bowlers, they all have those. There's no good bowler that doesn't have those four. Because now if you look at YouTube, here's a gun for you. So your people at home, I don't know how big your audience is. So it's a little something different. So we talked about that before we started about social media. How long is a bowling lane?
60 feet. What to the headband? Yep.
What do all the videos talk about now? Everything on social media, everything. It's all about one thing. Rev rate and release. How much does that come into play in a lane?
I would suppose only for the back end, right?
Last 15 feet. So if the lane's 60 feet long and it's only the 15 feet, it's 25% of the lane. All the YouTube videos should be about accuracy and 100% are about power. That's why nobody gets better watching YouTube.
Interesting.
It's my living. I got to study that stuff.
Yeah.
And in the last 6 months to a year coaching, I've never had to justify what I do more than the last year because everybody that watches YouTube now has become an expert. They talk a good game, then they throw the bowling ball and I laugh. Like I don't laugh at them, but
inside.
You're 160 and we're arguing about something. I've been 230 for 40 years. I mean, this isn't a real battle here. So they think if they just, I've heard it at least 25 times. If I could just master the yo-yo release and throw it like EJ Tackett, all my problems go away. No, like, okay, I agree with that. I mean, if you were going to have a release, that's probably the best release in the history of our sport. But EJ is also hitting he's hitting a gnat's ass at 45 feet. They skipped that part. They like the last in.
Yep. They like the flair, but not all the work that goes in.
Oh, yeah, they don't like to do the work. So those four things. And then Balance, timing, and accuracy allow you to control your break point. Then what EJ does is so spectacular and so impressive, but he did all the other parts first to show it. Everybody sees that piece because that's where the scores are created. I get that. And I completely agree with it. But all the work was done before that. We just see that as a result. But what causes that result? That's where I spend most of my time as a coach.
Do you think for your average league bowler, they watch the pros and see 400, 500 rev rates, and they think, I've got to have that to be successful?
Every single lesson I give. What's my rev rate?
Do you think that the pros really use their rev rate so that they can play different parts of the lane? But do you really think that the rev rate actually creates a higher score?
I think the rev rate, let's use EJ Tackett for an example. The reason why EJ Tackett's rev rate, I think, is so valuable is because it's the spread. Spread meaning when those now you notice it almost every show. As soon as the pro gets done, they're looking to the right. They're looking at all the data. They're looking at where they hit in the front, what their break point was. I don't know if they're looking at the rev rate or not. Well, like when they do the strike challenge, you look at EJ's rev rate, it's 510, 510, 510, 509, 511, 510, 510. Because the spread is so small, it magnifies that 5 number in front. It's 500 with a tight spread. That's amazing. Earl Anthony, I would imagine in the day, probably was 280, 280, 280, 280, 280. So he had to, because his rev rate was lower, he had to have that tight of a spread. So his ball did the same thing, and that's why he hit the pocket more than anybody ever bowled. Now EJ's doing it with a 5 in front of it, so you're seeing total domination. He's going for 3 players of the years in a row. So that's Mark Roth, and that's Earl Anthony, and that's Jason Belmonte, and that's Walter Ray. That's it. There's nobody else to talk about. So that's pretty impressive stuff. So rev rate is an amazing thing, but you've got to have a tight spread to use it. And when I have here at my place, I have Specto. I would say the usual spread's 50.
Okay. Wow.
Anywhere from, a good bowler's from 375 to 4.25.
Okay.
And as bowlers get like, hey, I bowled really good today, and then look at your shot, the last 10 shots, you're between 405 and 420. Wow, that's why my ball, your ball was hooking with the same amount of power in the same place.
Okay.
So I don't, of all the things I look at in Specto, I look at rev rate the least.
Interesting. Because
I never coach off of it. I've never seen anybody ever raise it. I've seen some kids naturally get stronger. They've gone from being, 13 years old to 16, especially the two-handed kids went from rev rate of 370 to 500. We didn't do anything to create that. They just got bigger and stronger. But as an adult that walks in the door at 350, if everything goes right, it might go to 375. But one of the things that people misconstrue about rev rate is what happens when your rev rate goes up. All your shots are 400.
Yeah.
Then you throw a 440 at them. What happens to the ball?
It's going to go through the face.
Guess what? You're wrong. It goes dead straight.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
If it goes at 380, it hooks.
Because it hydroplanes?
It must. I don't know. It's just an algorithm. That's why I don't believe in it. Because you shoot your 10 pin with a spare ball, it goes to 650.
Interesting.
Now, your rev rate didn't go up, but it reads a higher number.
Okay.
So if you look at Specto and you're going 13 to 7, and all of a sudden you get one into 15 and you don't get it to 10, and it leaves a 2 pin, the rev rate immediately goes up 40.
I have heard that Specto is not really great at reading rev rate unless you put tape on it or something they can see to calculate.
I use it as a function. I mean, it's obviously if you're hitting the pocket striking, your rev rate's enough. There's a lot of bowlers. I mean, it hasn't really bothered Liz Johnson the last 25 years. She's outstruck everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. So there's all the things that I hear. Well, if you don't work the inside of the ball, you can't be a good bowler. I'm like, well, Liz Johnson did okay.
That's true.
She never pulls from the inside of the ball.
Yeah.
That's when she's picking it off with a towel.
So it really seems like it's more about finding out what you're really good at and getting better at it.
That would be that. The people that walk in, because they walk in the door for one reason, consistency, which everybody wants. Consistency creates score. I get that. So then I go to my 4 things that I believe in to create the consistency. And invariably, and it's always funny, they throw 5 or 6 in a row. Like, oh my God, this is the best shot of my life. 1 flat 10. If that rev rate was a little higher, I'd get rid of that. It's always like the last minute 55 of an hour lesson. So is my rev rate high enough? You just said it was the best hour of bowling of your life. Why would you change it now?
Right.
But that rev rate is it's basically how far can I hit my driver? If I change the head and I make it a steel shaft and I make it a ½ inch longer, and I change the loft, if I could hit it 275 and hit it 270, I might break 90. Well, probably not. Now, if you're Rory and you can hit it 350 in the air and you can pinpoint it, then it's a pretty impressive thing. So I get that people like it. I get when you see guys on TV with a higher rev rate, or what people in the league, the guys with the higher rev rate that kind of throw it a little bit everywhere. They throw a lot of strikes. It's very deflating to somebody who really does hit their target a lot with a rev rate of 250 and leaves a lot of flat tens and mixture sevens. I get why they're upset, but it's not. I've never really increased anybody's rev rate.
Okay.
I've made them much more consistent. I made their rev rate much. I've seen their ball hit higher because I get their ball to break later, but I don't think the rev rate changes.
One of the things you mentioned earlier is one of the things you teach is balance. I had the privilege of recently interviewing Parker Bone for the podcast, and he was one who I always looked at when I was first growing up and watching PBA and like trying to develop my game was how smooth and consistent and balanced Parker always was. I never saw him fall off a shot. He always just hit his spot. Ball looked like the same every single time. How do you think he developed that? What is it about his game that makes him so balanced?
He's in balance on every step. I use Parker a lot in my teaching. I use him as an example. I mean, he really hasn't fallen off for about 40 years. So it's flat out impressive. So the easiest way to think about this is when you walk to the foul line, it's like, it's walking down the street the first couple steps. The first two steps in approach, you're not really bowling, whether you take 4 or 5. You're walking and putting a ball into your swing. Not till you get to your pivot step and you drop your hips and you create a slide and you have a swing plane and you have timing and you have leverage and you have a release and you have a rev rate and you have accuracy. Those are bowling terms. They don't happen till the end. So I think if you look at Parker from the side, every step Parker takes, and the one I would use now on tour would be Bill O'Neill.
Okay.
Every step they take, their foot is directly under their head, just like you walk down the street. What is the first thing most bowlers do? And the second step, they get leaning forward. So if you stop them, their head is a foot to 6 to 18 inches in front of their feet. Well, you would never, I would say you would never give a speech like this. You would never stand up and lean forward, put your head in front of your knees and try to talk for more than 30 seconds because your lower back would hurt.
Right.
The blood would rush to your head. Your body always, when I talk to you, you're in perfect balance. Then when you throw a bowling ball, the first thing you do is put yourself out of balance. And then you spend the next 3 steps trying to rebalance yourself. And that's why you don't bounce with the foul line. Well, Parker's never not out of balance in any step. So he finishes posted because he's in balance every step. He doesn't have to rebalance himself last.
Gotcha.
That's probably the best. As him and, the one who doesn't get really credit for being in balance, Pete Weber was in balance. And they both look like they're walking down the street the most. The next would be Don Barrett. Looks like he's just walking down the street. So the more you can stay in balance every step, now on the ladies' side would be easy, be Shannon O'Keefe. He just stays in balance. Danielle McEwen, they stay in balance on every step. So they post almost every shot.
Okay.
Verity is very good at it.
Does that go into the 80-20 rule that you teach, that it's 80% lower body, 20% upper body?
That's what I believe.
Okay.
I mean, the best bowlers of all time have the same size forearms. Pete's not out there. Pete or his father Dick, Don Johnson, Chris Barnes, Pete Weber, Parker Bone, Norm Duke. None of them have a big, a bigger right forearm or left forearm than their other. So the way I look at it, when it's 70-30, 80-20, that's because the most important thing to have is accuracy. And accuracy is created by a swing. So the ratio has to be lower body. So it has to add to 100 every shot, John Wooden theory. So it has to add to 100. So if it's 70% lower body and 30% upper body, that adds to 100. What happens, everybody? What's the most common tip given? Slow your feet down. They never tell you to slow your swing down. So now your feet get slower, so that number from 70 has to drop to 50. That means the upper body number has to go to 50. Once it's 50-50, then it's a throw. Once it becomes a throw, there's absolutely no accuracy and a very inconsistent release. I see it every day. So every day I work on that. It's usually caused by timing and balance. You get your timing and balance there, then your arm just does what it's supposed to, is give the ball direction.
Gotcha.
It's not the power source.
Would you talk about, for anyone who isn't familiar with the videos you have on YouTube or have worked with you before, would you explain what the Baker box is?
I think the Baker box, I think people teach lane play backwards. I bowled for a living. And so when I had been for a while there, the person that I had a mortgage of my condo, and the person I dealt with happened to live in the condo complex I lived in. So every time I would see him when I was on the road, I would come home. He wouldn't ask me how I bowled. He didn't ask me how was New Jersey or how was Ohio. First thing he said, "You got my mortgage money?" "I got your mortgage money." "You got my money?" "I got your money. You must be a pretty good bowler." So the question was always, do you have my money? So I always based everything off the pins. So the pins are static. All right. So I can't control who comes in my door at my training center, whether it's you or Verity or somebody who's never bowled. I mean, not somebody's never bowled. Anybody over 160 or 170, but I can't control if you're male or female. I can't control if you're a kid, an adult, a senior. But more importantly, I can't say, oh, I'm sorry, you brought a motive ball today. I can't give you a lesson. I only coach people who bring in SPI. I'm sure SPI would like that, but
Yeah, sure.
that sell more balls, but people bring in whatever they bring in. I can't say, oh, sorry, your rev rate's 200. I can't coach, or 500, or your tilt's too high, your tilt's too low, all those things, those are all variables I have to deal with. I can't change how I teach lane play because of the way you bowl. You might stand somewhere different and look somewhere different. But remember, the pins are static. The USBC did a study. 6 degrees of entry angle is correct. Well, EJ Tackett does that the most. Because if you put a tarp down at 45 feet and you didn't know where EJ Tackett was playing or which ball he was throwing, from the last 15 feet, it looks the same every week. His ball just looks the same no matter what he does. It's something so unique, it's amazing. But I really believe in that. So I decided 42 to 46 feet, 5, 6, 7, 8 board would be the window that your ball should hook, go through, get your ball to hook to hit the pins. So that's my easiest way of teaching people how to create that 6 degrees, no matter how you bowl, no matter what you bowl on. Obviously, on sports shots, I have a way more scientific way of doing it.
Okay.
I put tape on my lane every day at 4.5 and 9.5 board at 45 feet. People throw it through there. Yesterday, I had a couple people like, that's way too far and right, and that's way too far down. My ball will never hook. And then the gentleman said, I've never struck that much in my life.
Interesting.
I said, you keep thinking like I invented it. I just did the reverse engineer of the 6 degrees. Like USBC did the study, then they left you hanging. Well, they didn't tell you where that was. It's just, here's 6 degrees. Well, who's going to measure it? Well, I did. I mean, I got A's in math. I mean, it's not that hard. Or I know a lot of guys who are way smarter in math than I am. Like, and so a lot of us trial and error, and I give an inordinate amount of lessons. And then here at the training center, because I have both Strike Seeker and Specto, I have the breakpoint data, but then I get to watch it visually go through the pins and look at, okay, that breakpoint was here, that did this, the pins fell accordingly. How to, we all want to split the 8-9. So balls that break between 5.5 and 7.5, between 43 and 46 feet, that's the honey spot for splitting the 8-9.
Okay.
But I just watched, you give 1,400 lessons a year,
Yeah.
and the average person throws 50 shots an hour. So that's 70,000 shots, and I watch them at least 3 times. So I'm watching 250,000 of shots go down the lane. So it's not guessing.
Yeah.
After a while, the data presents itself.
Sure.
Balls that hit 3 don't strike. Balls that hit 11 don't strike.
Yeah.
Then it comes down where you slide and where you hit. Will the ball go to the tape? Will it go to the Baker box? So that's my way of coaching. I seem to get a lot of success out of it. My people like it. Every coach does it different. I'm not saying what I'm saying is right. I'm saying it works well for me and it keeps me busy.
Since you see so many bowlers and coach so many bowlers there at the center and virtual coaching, what would you say is the most common error or challenge that bowlers are having that they come to you for?
Oh, it's always timing and balance.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been told the wrong things all their lives. I mean, the worst tip given is get low.
Okay.
By far, the worst tip given is how low it get. And I go, well, I watched you bowl on YouTube, Mr. Baker. You got real low. Correct, but I wasn't throwing the ball you're throwing. I mean, I didn't invent reactive resin. I didn't invent the new cores.
Sure.
So when I bowled on tour, we throw balls that had a 3-ounce weight block. I mean, there's an ounce of, you could have an ounce of top or 3 ounces of top and an ounce of finger or thumb or side, whatever. It's a little tiny hockey puck. These things are 5 pounds now. They're 80 ounces.
Okay.
Where that hooks is more important than anything else. So they're always told, especially some of the female kids that come and their dads are pretty adamant about their daughter getting lower because, like, well, how much lower? Lower. I'm like, well, you got to give her a destination. Lower isn't a.
You can't lay down. You can't lay down on the approach.
Where how low? Like, well, you even because your daughter's wearing tape on her knee, and she's limping after a half hour, and she's 15. When you're 15, you're bulletproof. I'm turning 64 at the end of the month. Now, if I sleep funny, I dislocate my shoulder. So when I was 15, I was bulletproof till I was about 30. I mean, you really couldn't hurt me. So these kids are walking in loaded up on tape. I'm like, you're getting low, and low really creates 3 things: slow ball speed, early roll, and sore knees. Nobody walks in the door, hey, can you make me leave more flat 10s? 35,000 lessons into this gig I've been doing. Nobody's asked me for that one yet.
Yeah.
So the tip is backwards. So the people that really get the tip that are bad are my seniors from other seniors. I'm like, well, why are you like, I almost can't bowl anymore. My knees hurt so bad. Why? Well, the guys on my team tell me I'm not getting low enough. So my rev rate's not high enough. Like, Peter, you're 78 years old. Why don't you move up, decrease your knee bend, and just loft it farther? That's everything is opposite what I was told. I went, right. That's why those guys don't coach for a living. And they stayed at Holiday Inn Express last night, but because it doesn't mean it's right because it's been regurgitated for 50 years. I mean, I've heard all the time, well, knee bend creates leverage. I'm like, I don't think so. Well, I've heard it on TV. I'm like, yeah, but who invented leverage? Archimedes. It's always an old Greek dude. You can always say that one of those old Greek guys and get away with every answer. Anything to do with math. Some Greek guy, you got it. So you give me a big enough fulcrum, which is your hips, and a long enough lever, which is your swing, I can move the earth. He didn't say much about knee bend in those books I read.
Sure. That's good.
So getting low. Now, do I think you need a little bit of knee flex? Yes. Look at the best bowlers in the world now. How much knee bend does Tackett have at the end of his release?
Yeah,
much. Bill Neal, Jason Belmonte, Andrew Anderson, Dom Barrett. Because a lot of knee bend makes the ball roll early. What do pros fight? Early hook. So the tip creates what you don't want. So I'm just a coach that takes to the next step. I'm like, plus when you become a senior, getting lower is hard. I mean, I'm a senior. It doesn't work. So move up on the approach, decrease your knee bend, add loft so your ball hooks in a later spot. The pins don't know. They'll think you threw the ball harder because your ball broke later, so you're retaining more energy. So on my instructional videos that I did last year with the pros, I did a 7-minute free video for seniors with Dave Husted, and that was probably the greatest response I've ever had for anything I've ever done coaching. Literally hundreds of seniors have written me saying I saved their game.
Wow.
I said, decrease your knee bend. Don't try to throw it harder. Don't try to increase your height of your backswing, and don't try to go faster. They go, those are all the things I was told I wasn't doing. I'm like, Michael Jordan isn't guarding Tatum this year. Michael Jordan I'm still a Jordan guy over LeBron. I think he's the best ever, but his day came and went.
Sure.
So he's not the guy anymore. So, you're 78 years old. You're not going to do you're just not doing those things. Father Time is undefeated. So much of what I think I do as a coach, coaching isn't telling you what to do. Coach is me figuring out what I can get you to do that you can actually do. Because if you can't do what I want in the hour, then it's a frustrating hour for you.
Sure.
And most people come to me, I've been to their coaches. I try to, they say, I just can't do it. And they keep saying, if you don't do this, you're not going to be any good. I'm like, you should get your money back because that's on the coach. You paid your money. I should have a solution. Just not saying you're just not doing what I asked.
Sure.
Then I need to say it a different way so you could actually do what I think you need to do. So I've had to, I change a lot of how I coach. In the first 5 minutes, you got to be able to do as a coach, I think, to be very good without them knowing what you're doing. You should be able to figure out their skill set, their bowling IQ, what did you play sports in school or did you fail PE? Guy failed PE and a guy that was, all CIF basketball player have different hand-eye coordination. So you have to coach according to that. You can't have one way of coaching a guy that's not very athletic and a guy that's super athletic. A guy has a huge bowling IQ but not very athletic compared to a guy who has no bowling IQ and might be the most athletic guy you ever coached. You can't coach them the same way.
Makes sense.
Or they're both not coming back.
Right.
My business is based on you coming back. So I never make the bowler adapt to me. I always adapt to the bowler.
Gotcha.
It makes my job fun.
Yeah, makes sense. What would you say that most successful bowlers, what qualities would you say that the most successful bowlers possess? And how do you possibly coach that to your bowlers?
Ooh, you talking about that X factor? Most of them are pricks, but what are you going to do about that? Most of the guys I knew they were good were pretty tough. They were they might have been nice, but they, behind closed doors, they were you have to have a lot of heart if you want to get to this level. You got to be a killer. I mean, you got to be a killer. There's no, there's a very few Parker Bones.
Yeah.
There's more Mark Ross. Guys that just soon beat you for a cup of coffee as look at you. So you can't teach that. I mean, I have some juniors. I have a girl named Caitlin Amaganya that's tough. She wins a lot of stuff. She's a killer. It's inbred in her.
Right.
So I think that the people that are the best are just, I think they really understand themselves better than everybody else. I'm really good at this. I'm going to do this. I mean, one of the few guys that could do it all was Barnes. he was probably the most talented person I ever coached. He literally could do whatever you asked him to do. He would just make it work. That's just not normal. That's just not, whereas Tommy Jones could do a lot of things, but Tommy was really, really, really one of the best I've ever seen at his thing. And when he had his thing, he knew there was nobody else better than him in the world. So Tommy was an unbelievably great winner. Chris was an unbelievably great bowler. I mean, they were completely different animals. You couldn't coach them at the same time. A lot of it is like, I mean, being very good at what you do and knowing what you're great at and just getting better at that, I think is the way the best bowlers I've seen. They're all pretty good that they're all pretty tough mentally. I mean, the easiest way to say it, most of the best bowlers of all time we're all good spare shooters. Nobody ever became one of the best of all time that couldn't make spare. I mean, you saw the change in Belmonte. He went from being okay at spares to being really good at spares. And then in his prime, he was a killer. I mean, that was as mentally tough as anybody I've ever seen. You know, and now it's what happens is it goes in streaks where the guys that are the best, they just get on TV the most, and then they finally get comfortable on TV. I think all the great athletes get comfortable.
I guess then the more you win, the more you win.
Well, for about a 15-year period, we were very lucky in my lifetime to see the best athlete of all time was Tiger Woods. Oh, it's Sunday. The crowd is standing room only. I play in the last group and I wear a red shirt. This is what I do on Sundays, and I shoot 68, and everybody else gets nervous but me. Mm-hmm. He just got to know Sunday. Around 1:30, I go to the golf course, put on this red shirt, and I turn into Superman. So then now Tackett's on TV every week. He's starting to get really relaxed on TV and never panic. Well, if he throws it good enough, long enough, he's going to strike. I mean, that ball's going to strike. I think for a long period, Belmonte got there. The guys on tour let him get comfortable on TV, and he put a beating on him for how long? 15 majors under that amount of stress. And if you think about what Belmonte and Tackett are doing, I think is even better than the guys in my era, is because of the lack of tournaments. If there were 35 weeks on tour, like when I bowled, you know, Walter Ray got to his number, or Mark got to his number, or Earl, but they were getting 30 swings at it. And Walter bowled most of them. Mark and Earl didn't bowl as much. But if those guys, Belmonte in his prime was bowling 30 weeks instead of 18 to 20, and Tackett now, you know, those guys, you know, Simonson, they might have put a number up there that would never be caught. So they're doing all this greatness in a very truncated, short period of time. That's, you know, there are a few more majors now to take a swing at. So they got 5 instead of 3. So the major number might get higher because there's more of them. They're doing it in a short period of time. So that makes some of the things they do pretty impressive.
Who do you think coming up is the next Belmonte or EJ Tackett?
Wow, there's a lot of them coming up too, man. It's fun to watch. These kids are that's where YouTube's been beneficial, because the ability to have a lane machine and put in arsenic or put in shark or put in red square or put in whatever, the 2008 US Open day 3, you can program that in.
Yeah. And
then you can bowl on it for a week and be pretty good. When I bowled on tour, the only time you could bowl on tour conditions was on tour. One, they never told us what they did. It was way more, you know, complicated how they did the lanes back then. You know, if you look at some of the things they did, the things they drew, where they put towels and oil and basketballs, and I mean, it was pretty wild what they did. There was nowhere to recreate that. If you have a halfway decent lane machine, Brunswick or Kegel, you can download most of the, you know, they post them on there. Here's a picture of it. You can type it all in. You can make the front load, the back load, and then the taper and the ratios and all those cool things. And it was ice, or it was fire, it was connect, it was control. You can do almost everything. So you can basically replicate almost to the exact what the pros bowl on. And then these kids aren't afraid to practice. So these young guys coming up they're really advanced. They get quicker, faster than we did. We went out there, and the first 3 years on tour, you just got your brains beat in.
Yeah.
The only 2 guys I ever saw that came on tour that were good immediately were 3. Ted Hannos was really good. Brian Voss and Parker. Those guys came on tour like they'd been on tour. Wow. I mean, Brian Voss, like you watched him bowl for like 4 weeks, went, oh, there's one spot in the finals gone. And then Parker, we went, if he ever throws to throw it a little bit slower, he's going to be the leading money winner of all time. That took about 6 weeks. And then Ted Hannos had a very unique style, but he came out, I think the first week he ever bowled, made a show. Dale Ballard was really, really good when he first came on tour. Dale just came out, I think finished second. Some of those guys just had it. But most times you had to take a couple years to figure out how to live on life. And the tour was a different animal. The guys were really good. But now these young guys, you know, obviously I'm going to think Ryan Barnes is going to be really, really good. I like guys who have red ass, and Ryan's got his father's his mom can get a little hot too. I mean, Linda comes across as the nicest person in the world, but Linda's pretty fiery under there. But obviously Ryan. The thing that, like right now, the World Series is going on, and the thing that's eye-opening is the international players. The best player in the world may be somebody international right now that we don't really know who that is, because these people come from international because they have access to everything. These guys from Sweden and the guys from over there, these people can flat out bowl. I know at one time for a while there were 2 or 3 guys in Korea that didn't bowl on tour that were almost tour. They were tour level guys. If they'd have bowled over here, they'd have done just fine. So I don't know who the next, because I always think that the guys on top aren't going to give that up. Tackett's not walking away anytime soon, and Simo still hasn't had as good as years as he's had. Simo hasn't had his best year yet. So Simonson's going to get a player in the year or two somewhere. So he's going to have some. He's going to have some years where everybody's bowling for second. So there's still but there's a lot of guys coming up. These kids, Bailey Maverick, I watch, and Ryan Barnes. You see all these names starting to really. This Ethan Fiore kid. And they're not even hesitating. They're just jumping in the top 10 right away.
Yeah.
So they've got some maple moxie going on there. So it's kind of fun to watch, and they really do push. They push the generation that's there now. They're pushing them. It's good for sports.
Yeah. Do you have a structured practice routine that you recommend to students?
Full reps. No, I'm not that guy. I never have a game plan. I don't have a 6-lesson plan. I don't sell packages. You show up, tell me what you want to work on, I'll figure it out in 30 seconds.
Are you for or against foul line drills?
How do I say this the right way?
The honest way.
The Westpac Training Center is a drill-free environment. The foul line drill, you realize the foul line drill isn't really new, right?
No.
Where did the foul line drill start? In the pro shop.
Okay.
It's only been going on for 80 years. When you get a ball drill and you roll the ball in the pro shop, that's a zero-step drill. What do? You stand up and the guy's back there. Go to my foot. What do? You put yourself in perfect balance because you don't want to break anything in the pro shop. You got to throw it from A to B and not hit anybody. You're going to throw 15 feet. Most pro shops aren't the biggest places in the bowling center. They're very thin or very. It's not a big space.
Sure.
And there's usually people in there while you're doing it, so you're a little nervous. And what happens when you get one of your first couple balls drilled? The thumb hole's way tighter than it ever is with a house ball, or the first couple balls you drill and you get better. So what do? You stand up, put your head up, put yourself in perfect balance. Now we're talking about the 0-step drill.
Yeah.
Your chin is perfectly on top of your kneecap that you're sliding with.
Yep.
There's no pull up or pull down. So your swing is as free as it ever is going to get. And it comes off that hand right at the end of your toe and it rolls oh my God, that fits great. Look how good that's rolling. Then they go out there and bowl, and 30 minutes later, they come in. Can you make the thumb hole a little bigger? Because then their head's not on top of their knee, and their swing's not real free, and then it doesn't come off. So the 0-step drill's been going around for 80 years. They just took it from the pro shop and put it on the lane and gave it a name, and they waste time doing it. So you already asked me about my 80-20 rule.
Yep. I guess it takes the 80 out.
So you're basically teaching people to bowl the opposite of Parker Bone. You just told me he was good.
Okay. Makes sense.
I'm a math guy. It's all math to me.
Yeah.
All spreadsheets and math. So you're basically taking the legs out of a shot. I'm not trying to be contrary because I am old. I mean, there's some, and I've never seen anybody yet come in here and go, hey, by the way, I've been doing these drills, and now I'm a 230 average bowler. Now, maybe because they're 230, they don't come for lessons. Maybe they're out there. To take the Parker Bone, 80-20. Now, Parker's 95-5. Him and Pete are like the ultimate. 95 lower body, 5% arm. That's how good they are. So that 0-step drill, that you take your right leg and you clear, I'm your right-hander. The first thing you do is you clear it. You put the ball on the ground, and then what they use their shoulder to create a swing. So the part I don't agree with, what are they teaching you?
To use the arm to start the swing.
Well, you have to.
Yeah.
There's no legs.
Yeah.
So it's 100-0. So it's 180 degrees different than what I believe in. So I would never teach that because I believe in something else.
Sure. And it's easy to balance at the foul line when you don't have to walk up there.
So the last person I said this to, it did not go well. Luckily, he paid me that day. It wasn't the nicest thing ever. So a gentleman said, hey, he's bowling. Well, okay, 170, 180. And, he's doing really good, having a great lesson. He goes, the last 5 minutes, I want to show you my 0-step drill. I go, why? Look how good my ball rolls. I go, it's irrelevant. I mean, that's not how you bowl. But I want my ball to roll like that. I went, well, you're putting yourself in perfect precision. Of course it does. I go, all right, dude, it's your time. It's your money. Fire away. So he threw his 3 or 4 shots. And I said, well, that's a waste of time. He goes, why? I went, because you average 0. Every ball went in the gutter. But you don't bowl like that when you bowl. He goes, you don't think I should just do more of them? I'm like, well, you could do that or do we. It's like, being good at the 0-step drill is like being good at we bowling. It's irrelevant to the score.
Yeah. It's fair point.
So obviously every
fair
coach
point.
in the country who's watching this thinks I don't know what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm a little bit busier than they are.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So, I mean, if you do it from the math standpoint, so what they're doing, so what happened to this gentleman, I'll finish. He created the wrong feel. So now his 0-step is his feel. He thinks that's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but he averages 0. Then when he throws his full approach that doesn't look like that, it feels terrible. So those drills are creating an expectation of feel that you don't get. Because what's the most important part of the approach? First 2 steps. You're taking away what starts the approach. To get yourself in position to do those things, throwing at 15 to 18 miles an hour with a rev rate of 300 or higher, all those other integers that go into it are created earlier in it. You just measure it there. Well, they're taking all the parts that create those things and they just go to the field. And I'm a field man. I'm 100% into field players. That's, I think, I've had 2 bowlers in my life that just have no feel. Nope. The ball hit the pocket. That feeling good? They always feel the same. When it hits the pins, I know how it felt. You can't tell off your hand. Nope. You can't tell if it hit your target. Sometimes it misses it. One was a girl, and one was a guy. Like, I have no feel, like none. I had a very hard time coaching him because I'm 100% feel. And all I'm trying to do is figure out your markers to create your feel.
Sure.
So because they're trying to create the feel that way, I believe every bowler is unique. No 2 bowlers bowl the same. I've never given a lesson. Anybody said, you're not going to believe it. Last week, I had a guy here look just like you. I've never said it in 35, 40,000 lessons. So because you're unique, your feel is unique. And the feel is created through the approach, and you feel it as the ball comes off your hand. That's feel 1. Feel 2 is when your ball makes a move at 45 feet. Invariably, it's the Baker box. So I get feel 1 and feel 2. I mean, especially when the ball's on the lane. I struck all my life. So when the ball makes a move at 45 feet and it strikes, I get the hair in my arms stands up like, ooh, I know what that felt like. I did that my entire life. I get that. That part is the fun part. That's why I coach. I live vicariously through my bowlers. So you're trying to create those 2 feels, but that feel was started at the back of the approach. So I think you have to do all that to create that feel you want that counts. Or else you're creating a feel you can't replicate. So all you do is get frustrated. So the people that do the most drills to me are also the most frustrated bowlers. So that's another reason why I don't teach it, because people that come in talking about the most drills are also the most frustrated bowlers when they start their lesson.
Okay. Makes sense.
That's with with all the social media and YouTube, because there's so much of it. Now I've seen, if you look at the 2 people who do the best at drills would be Verity and Shannon O'Keefe. Now their records are top notch. So obviously it worked for them. It doesn't work for me as a coach.
Do you think that you can over practice or under practice?
You got to practice. There's no endeavor in life where you don't have to put in reps to get good at something. If you bowl league, you got to practice at least once a week.
Okay. But
over practice, I don't know of anybody over practicing out here anymore because the cost of lineage is so high. I mean, it's like $50 an hour or $8 a game in California to bowl. And there's, if you bowl league, they give you a deal, and a couple centers give you the year pricing. It's pretty cool. I don't have anybody like, I've been practicing, 50 to 100 games. I don't have any Chris Barnes walk in the door. Yeah, that was a good one for my son. My son's a pretty good bowler now. He's 15, turning 16 in April. He's starting to win a couple of scratch events around town, doing pretty good. And he's like, Dad, I want to get better. I said, great. How much better? I want to go to college, and then I may want to really bowl on the tour. Wow, that's a big statement, kid. I said, I don't think you're going to get there from where you're at. Why not? I got you as a coach. Yeah, whatever. That me being your coach is not, that's not going to get you there. It's going to help, but it's not. I said, you got to work at it harder. What do you mean? I said, well, call Uncle Chris. So we're in the car. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? Chris, Gage has something to say to you. Hey, Uncle Chris. Hey, when did you decide to become a pro bowler? When I got out of college, I didn't want to get a job. That was Chris Barnes. All right. So what did you do? I started practicing. How much? 100 games a week.
Wow.
How long? Till I turned 50.
Wow.
So that's a 28. He goes, if I bowled on tour that week and I bowled 60 games, I still practiced 40. But I try to get in 100 games a week, 45 to 50 weeks a year.
Wow.
Just no breaks. So he went on and on and on. He goes, then when I turned 50, I knocked it down to 55 games, 50 games a week. And that's why I'm not as good as I used to be. And, Chris is always going to be pushing, pushing, pushing. So then, because Gage knows how much I played basketball when I got to be pretty good at ball. And I'm always pushing him to, more jump shots, more jump shots, more jump shots. Like how many, I don't know, 500 to 1,000 a day every day in the summer. Just shoot till your arm falls off. So I hang up the phone. I think he goes, well, Dad, I know one thing. You and Uncle Chris are insane. You want your name to hang on one of those banners and you want to have 20 titles? There's the answer. You may not like the way it was presented, but it wasn't false. So that's what I'm saying. Chris, he was like a Patrick Allen or David Ozio. There are some guys that just bowl that much to get that good. So that's one way. But I know people today don't do that anymore. That's just not, because it's hard to get the lanes. In Southern California, we don't have as many bowling centers as we used to, obviously. And so the lanes, the people that are open are busy. The bowling centers out here are doing great. Bowling's huge right now. Bowling's doing amazingly well. So the practice, if you bowl 3 games a week, I ask him every time, how much do you bowl? 3 games a week. If you're spending a lot of money for a lesson, can you break it up? What do you bowl league? I bowl league on Monday. So I need you on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday to give me 3 games. Just walk in the door, bowl 3 games, work on what we're working on. That way, when you bowl league, you just bowl for score. You're not thinking about your push away. You're not thinking about, your timing spot. You're just thinking about, knocking down the pins and getting lined up. So you got to practice. Whatever you bowl, you got to put some reps in because it's all muscle memory. And then if it goes wrong, how fast can I fix it? And then you only create that by doing it all the time.
Do you also coach the mental side of the sport?
Oh, big time. That's some of the fun. You get to the better players. That's some of the best. That's part I probably like the most because I was probably not very good. I was very good at competing, but I didn't know how to control my temper. I wish I would have known some things now at 64 that I knew when I was 25 could actually bowl a little bit. I would have been a much better bowler. So no, that's everybody's individual. Some people you got to push, some people you got to back off on. That's probably the part I like about coaching the most. And it's not, what Dr. Dean does, and it's very, book oriented and the process. To me, it's all about how you react to what's going on. So I got some tricks I teach, not tricks, but things that, people that have tempers like I did. There's got, I wish I'd have known about the Nick Faldo rule that as soon as you throw the shot, no matter what result is, when you want to really, really get mad, you got to take 3 steps back from the foul line before you get mad. So you throw it, you leave the solid 8 to lose to the guy you can't stand in league. You need to go 1 step, 2 step, 3 steps. Now, if you still want to get pissed and kick the ball return, knock yourself out. By the time you take your 3rd step, you don't. I would have known that rule alone because Nick Faldo would say I'd hit the shot, and then no matter how bad the result was, I would take 3 steps before I would start getting mad at myself. And by the 3rd step, I was like, all right, what am I going to do to fix this? I would never. That stopped me from losing. I'm like, wow, if somebody could have just explained that to me, or if I could have seen myself bowl on TV or bowl in tournaments and saw how I reacted to bad situations, I'd have been a much better bowler. So now you can watch video and see their body language.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch the best, they don't react to bad stuff too much.
Mm-hmm. I remember hearing Chris say one time that he, in a video somewhere, that he would allow himself to have an emotional response on the approach if he felt like he needed to. And then that's how he processed it. And by the time he stepped off the approach, he was back in it, getting ready for the next shot. So that was his way of he got frustrated. He needed to let it out. He'd have an emotional response and then get back in it.
Yeah. And everybody's different. My best friend in the world's Dave Husted, and nothing bothered him. He threw it. It did what it did. He goes, all right, if I got 6, I better get 2 in the next shot. This is what I do for a living. No shots off. And Dave was just so comfortable in his own skin. He never got high or he never got low. My personality was much way, up and down and up and down. And now I realized that I didn't know how to control the downs. I was always, when I was up and I was going good, I was great. But when it was going down, I just got that's why I enjoyed basketball, because in basketball, no matter how mad I got, I had to run back and play defense. So by the time I got, sprinted down the end of the court and I was guarding my guy, whatever I was mad about was gone. And then I thought, then it mean like, okay, now when I go down court, I'm going to get him on the block. I'm going to pivot on him. I got this guy. I'm going to step right on his big toe and I'm going to break it. I'm going to get a 3-point play on him. I'm going to break this guy's toe and I'm going to get a 3-point play. I mean, that was insane.
You just mentioned Dave Husted. How was his friendship and your relationship with him affected your life?
The best part about going on tour was meeting him. He's the best man I know. He's a good dude. Talk to him 4 times a week. He's just the best.
I know he's also part of the video series you created.
Yep.
Would you talk a little bit about that video series and what people can expect when they purchase that?
Well, I thought there were two things that hadn't been taken care of. Nobody ever talked to the seniors. And the seniors are a big part of me. So my dad was a big time business guy. And so he would always critique my business and want to know numbers. And I didn't like, so what are your percentages? I'm like, what do you mean? He goes like, one-handed to two-handed, seniors to kids to females to left-handers. Where does your money come from? What? Dad, I did 30 lessons last week. He goes, well, so what? That's 30 lessons. That's a lot of lessons. Like, we'll break it down. So he made me learn to look at this as a business. My business is that I coach, but I run a small business, not I'm a bowling coach. He goes, you got to talk different. You're just a self-employed guy. Don't even tell anybody you're a coach. I'm self-employed, I own my business. What do you do? I do this, this, and this. And when I did that, my numbers grew quickly. So I studied it. 30% of my business is seniors. Now 30% of my business is two-handers. Well, guess what there wasn't out there? There was nothing out there for those. There was YouTube. There was actually no, here's a two-handed video. And then there was nothing for seniors. Like, hey, Dave, you're going to fly down and I'm going to pay you like I pay everybody else. We're going to do this. I just, he and I, he does all my camps thing. I talk to him all the time. I run everything by him. He's like my board of directors. I run everything by Dave. So Dave, I always tell when Dave's, hey, Bakes, that's a great idea. Or I run something by him. You might want to give that one some thought. So that's Dave Husted co-for. That's a dumbass idea. I know Dave, I know well Dave's anybody that I know his code for talking. So, hey, we're going to do the senior thing. You're going to be 64. I'm 63. You're going to be my senior. He said, no problem. He's my best friend, of course, Bakes. So what we really did a good job on the do's and don'ts for seniors. And then I thought, this two-handed thing's not going away. No matter what some people say, I don't quite get the animosity towards two-handers. It's just a different way of delivering the ball. As Dave says, we all start two-handed. We just take our left hand off a little earlier than they do. That's how Dave goes on. We all start two-handed, but they just take theirs off a lot later.
Do you think two-handed will eventually take over as the dominant delivery?
It may become 50% of the top of the end, but not league, not here. It's so like I can tell by my video, by the purchases of my video, the one-handed have crushed the two-handed people. I thought the two-handed video, because of who I brought in as the models, was going to make me rich. I'm still giving lessons. It's done very well, but when you bring in Anthony Simonson and then you bring in the big fish, Jason Belmonte, it's hard to argue Belmonte's fundamentals. I mean, I think I know Jason's game better than Jason does because I've had to study it so much. Because almost every lesson I give that's two-handed, 90% of the time I use Jason as my model. Now there's 10% of the guys that I use Simo. The kids that are strong, the kids are a little shorter, kids like to have fast feet, throw the early tilt. Simo's the guy. But I thought a two-handed video was this part of our sport's growing. In my mind, it saved our sport for a while. The influx of kids that bowl two-handed, because as a guy who studies this, kids that take lessons who are one-handed, invariably their parents bowl. Kids that take lessons who are two-handed, their parents don't bowl. All these two-handed kids are new bowlers. The one-handed kids are generational bowlers. I think that's you're not growing the sport if it's all generational people. As soon as you run out of that generation of group, then that thing dies.
Fair.
Two-handed, because it was so unique, people were saying, yeah, I don't know anything about bowling, but my kids started watching these videos of Jason Belmonte. Who's he?
Yeah.
Like, well, he's a man. Well, my kid is addicted to bowling. I know nothing about it. He throws it with two hands. Is that okay? Oh, it's fine. So I thought I'd bring in Jason and Simon, and they were both so on the 2 days we did the videos. It was even Dave's like, how do they do this? Because like we started doing it. I need 5 good shots, and then Belmonte throws a quick 17 bagger. And I'm like, whoa. Because Jason said, hey, mate, how many more do you need? You thought you said you only needed 5. I went, oh, I got the first 5, Jason. We're good. I just want to see how long you can do that. And I'll never forget what he said because I have my tape on the lane. He goes, mate, you got the tape in the right place today. I can do this forever. Houston leaned over and went, never said that in my life. Then Simo comes in because I made it where they couldn't see each other bowl.
Okay.
They had to leave the building. They had to leave the room. So Anthony comes in. Now he started a little different. My tape's down there and he goes, which arrow, boss? I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, I can play all the arrows. Which arrow do you want me to use today to throw through the tape and strike?
Wow.
I said, well, just pick the 4th arrow. How about that? We have nobody playing 4th arrow yet. You play 4th arrow. And he goes, how many row did he throw? I went, he broke the record in the building. He threw 17. He goes, give me 5 minutes.
Wow.
17 bagger.
Wow.
Then I turned to Dave like, all right, buddy, you're up. He goes, I'm not following that. Call Danielle in here. So we brought in Danielle and didn't tell her. So Dave and I, as usual, Dave and I had the most fun of the whole process.
Yeah.
So that's why,
awesome.
I get emotional. But when Dave and I are together, like one of the camps we just did, we were walking back from the lanes to dinner or whatever. And one of the ladies at my camp said, hey, can I interrupt you two guys? Sure. How long you guys been buddies? I went, oh, we're over 40 years now. She goes, you realize you shouldn't make any money at this camp. I'm like, wow, why is that? She goes, because you two are having more fun than the bowlers.
Wow.
Every time I see you two together, all you're doing is laughing. What's so funny? And Dave goes, for 40 years we've been doing this, and I can't tell you what we're laughing about. So Dave and I, he's so different than me, but we each Dave can push my buttons as well as anybody on earth. So, and he does it in such a way that as mad as I get at him, I'm still laughing. I brought Dave in, so we did the videos, and they couldn't. And then Danielle did great. Prather, I had no idea that Prather and Husted's games are almost exactly the same.
Interesting.
We started matching them step for step where the ball was compared to their feet and their timing spot and their head and their slide. It was like, oh, Prather's trying to become the next Husted, which if you look at his game isn't far off. He's just so smooth.
Yeah.
And when Dave was in his prime, everybody said the same thing about Husted. He's just most smooth, like he's not even trying, and his ball hits so hard. Prather has probably the most strongest release, but like he's not doing anything to the ball. So it was a great project. It really, Danielle did, everybody, all the pros were amazing. They gave me 100% effort. The videos came out, Kirk Von Kruger, Anthony Santos, the guys that helped me with it behind the scenes. Very, very proud of that project. Very hard to get people to, it sold pretty good. It still sells.
Yeah.
I sell a couple, 2 or 3 every day. I like to sell 20 or 30, but that's not how it works.
Would you say that, in your opinion, do you think that the two-handed delivery is more taxing on the body over time, that those players that choose to go two-handed won't have as long of a career just because of the spinal tilt and that sort of thing?
Well, the jury's out on that. I mean, Jason's, he was leading yesterday after one round. I watched some of the highlights. It looked pretty good to me, and he's been doing it on tour now for quite a while. And he doesn't, I don't think Jason's ever really had an injury. If he has, he's never let on. So I do know from a coaching standpoint, I think it's much easier. Coaching two-handers is not very hard. I have my completely, obviously I did a video about it. Yeah, I put my money where my mouth was. I bought it. And I already knew what Jason did. I already knew what I wanted. I just needed to study it a little more. And then Simonson and Jason had so many parts. If you've seen the video, they do the last 2 or 3 steps. They look quite a bit alike.
Okay.
So my son's two-handed. I mean, if you're going to bowl and be successful, I think because it's harder to get good at it because you got to have a certain body type. I think you got to be fairly athletic. It helps to be thin, because you got to get that left arm far enough back to get in time. But the effect, because they don't have their thumb in the ball, I've never told a two-hander to work on their release. Their balls hook and their balls hard. Once they can find some speed to match their rev rate, all I ever work on with two-handers is timing and balance. If I get them in time and I get them in balance and they have just a little bit of accuracy, it's over because their balls do hit harder. It's not right or wrong. It just is because they never have to mess with their thumb.
Right.
They don't have to tape it. They don't have to put the cut patch on it. They don't have to worry about it going ball to ball to ball. So there are some big positives. Now it's not as easy to get to 220, I don't think. So yeah, it doesn't, two-handers, but I enjoy coaching everybody. There's no style. There's no style I like, oh no, not you. I have none of that. 3-step approach is tricky for me because I can't do it.
Okay.
That's the only person I struggle with a little bit, the 3 steps. I just can't get my arms and my swing I get it. I can do it without a ball, but put a ball in my hand. I literally can't bowl 3 steps. 4 steps to 10 steps. I can do all that. I have excellent form two-handed. If I throw an 8-pound ball, I do it very, very well. Oh, if I'd have been 16 again right now, I'd have given yes for all he wants. I was 6'4", 190, and I was slightly intense. My rev rate would have been 600. And I would have let you known about it. I'd love to be 16 and Barnes still be bowling.
Yeah.
It's time to go home, old man, because you ain't ever beaten me. I'd have been terrible. I'd have got kicked off court. And man, my rev rate would have been high.
Yep. If you're like me, you're always working to improve your game. That's why I use Lane Talk. Lane Talk lets me focus on competing while it collects all my stats. After each event, I simply go in the app and collect my scores. It's that easy. Lane Talk gives me in-depth information showing me areas I need to work on. Download now in the App Store or Google Play. Join me and take your game to the next level with Lane Talk. Let me give you a hypothetical and just kind of see how you would approach this. So let's say you're coaching Danielle at a tournament and you both agree that she is in the wrong ball. What she's doing is not working. What approach do you have as a coach to help guide her to what you think should be the appropriate ball to use?
Just ask her a simple question. How good did you throw that shot? What she'd say, I threw it really good. Okay, that result's not beating anybody. I would convince her, because I work with Danielle. We had a great run when I was on Team USA as a coach. She and I worked as well as anybody. Danielle was, once you get her trust, talk about a tough customer. Ooh, she is willing to try everything. So that was like, hey, I think you threw that shot as good as you can throw it. That result is not going to beat anybody. We got to switch balls. Next shot, she switched balls. I think you got to go from that point of view, like you did your job so well, the ball's hindering you from the result that you deserve. Then switching balls, like, you know what, you're right. I did throw that perfect. Can you give me something else? You just have to make it logical. To me, I'm not a big, if you tell me to do it, I just won't do it because you told me to. Hey, go do that. Kiss my ass. I ain't doing nothing. If you go do this, this, and this, you'll get I'll get that result. I'll do it. So I really work on that as a coach. I don't want to be telling anybody anything. I think my strength is I can tell you why you miss. What's your most common miss? That one right there. See how I came over the top and I fell off? And you just a little bit inside my front target, but it's 3 left of the break point. I saw that. Why does that happen? Here's why. This, and this. Oh, I've never told me my head. I had too much knee bend in my second step. Your push away went down instead of out, so your timing was early. So your shoulder was a power source, not your back leg. Head got in front of your knee. That's why you fell off. That's like 80%. Then you change it around, stay taller, stand up. No knee bend. Nope. Stand up, walk by it, keep your chin up. Do not let your chin go toward your knee to release. You got to stay stable in there to create a flat spot. And then they get one where the roll changes and the ball goes to the right instead of left. And then it comes off that spot and they split the 8-9 like, oh, that's what I wanted to do. Okay, how do we do that? And you show them the video like, I look like a different bowler in 2 shots.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Video is a huge advantage.
Yeah.
And I have strike seeker, so I see every shot.
Okay. I guess
that way you're not, because then it's if you don't use that, then it's your feel against my eyes.
Okay.
Well, I'm not doing that. Well, I think you are. No, I didn't do that. Well, I think you did. Here's video. Oh, that's what you mean. Yeah, you're almost falling down. Oh, okay. Then they're pretty easy to, they're very malleable to move them around.
If you could switch places with any bowler right now for a day, who would it be?
Oh, I'd be Sunday at the U.S. Open, so I could take EJ's Tackett's check. I don't even want to do the bowling. I just want when he gets the check. I'd be EJ for the presentation. I got all kinds of places I could use $100,000.
Yeah,
that's an easy answer. I mean, I think I would like to either be. I may want to be Simo just to get inside his head to see how he sees a lane. Because when he's on, he can do things that nobody else tries. I'm always curious how he got there. You see, the difference between, I'd have a hard time because I grew up, and there was one man. There was Mark Roth. Everybody else didn't matter. Roth was king. So Mark Roth could shoot 190 in the parking lot by throwing a 3-bagger. And ninth, 2, and the 10th, Mark Roth owned to shoot 190. Tackett and Simo, and I think Belmo are different animals that they're going to switch balls in the 8th, 9th, and 10th. And they're willing to open all 3 frames to shoot 160. Knowing if the last ball's the right one, they're going to go 270, 270, 270. My generation didn't think like that.
Okay.
They're willing to, and now I know that ball's not going to work. That was like big 4 and a 10th. I'm like, oh, God, you're on a strike. You could have bailed 180. So what? That's exactly what I need to know. That ball wasn't it. That's the ball that's going to work. Front 8. If I open in the big 4 on chance shoot 190 and I shoot 160, oh, my God, the next game I'm so mad. Their mindset is so different than my generation because we grew up with Roth was king at that stuff, that no matter what you did, you bowled 190 because then you went spare 4-bagger, you were good. They're willing to shoot 160 to shoot 3 270s. I would like to know how that feels. I shot a lot of 270s in my life. They're always like a mystery to me, like, wow, that was I never expected them. I was always so excited, and I bowled a ton of them. I threw a lot of strikes. but I never thought I was going to.
Yeah.
These guys, like when they see it, it's over. I'd like to have that. What do they recognize when they throw it? Like, okay, it's on now. And as you watch them those 3 games, they literally are moving 10 boards or 15 boards in those 3 games, and they're never losing a hit, and it looks like they never moved. That's something I didn't do. I would like to see Tackett does that. Belmo, when those guys are on, those little incremental moves. Tommy Jones did it. Like, how do they know? I'm watching the same strikes they're watching. It's not like, they went high flush and the head pin got the 9 pin off the wall. They're like going half pocket and moving. Like, okay, that's something I didn't know about because I never had that experience.
Right.
So I guess I would, any one of those 3 guys when they're on, how they make their moves.
Yeah.
That's the part I would.
Yeah. What's your opinion on the string pin?
I just took my son over to a place by my sister's house in Gardena Bowl, and she lives in Palos Verdes, so we went over there. I wanted to see it firsthand because I hear so much bad about it. The easy answer is if a bowling center is going to close or a bowling center is going to stay open because they convert to string, I want them to convert to string.
Right.
You don't want to see any bowling center close. As far as the competition goes, I'm not real sold on that. And it's not about the first shot. It's about the second shot. So we were at Gardena and my son bowled. Like I said, he's a legitimate 200 average bowler. And his good shots, he throws at 19, a pretty good rev rate. His good shots, I didn't know there was a difference. It was weird not seeing a rate come down. It took me about 20 minutes to get used to that. But his good shots, there was no difference. He got one in, it laid off for a solid 9. He should have left a solid 9. He had no ring in 10s. But when he missed in on the oil and it didn't quite get to the spot and he hit light, that automatic free strike with a 2-handed kid, it's like, Dad, my ball, like, you almost ate 10 3 times. That looked like my ball back in the day throwing a white dot when I missed left on the shim, in league, and I almost ate 10. I was like, that's different. But the only part that I didn't like was some of the spares. There was a group of like 6 guys bowling next to us, and they were having a good time. And they were on purpose leaving the 310, the 36910, any combination with the 3-pin. So then they were trying to hit the 3-pin way on the inside to get it to go to the gutter and have it slide down there and go back in the back. So they were trying to hit the 3-pin, but make the 36910, but only hit 1 pin and make the string take out all the other strings.
Interesting. Huh.
And they were doing it.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, yeah, if I'm watching my son bowl a tournament and a guy needs a spare to win and he 3s the 10s and he whiffs it on the inside and barely nicks a 3 and it goes to the side gutter and it zips down there and the string of the 3 goes by and takes the string out the 10 and he loses the tournament.
Yeah.
I that would not be good.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be.
I don't know how that works. That part from a tournament bowler, if you're paying money, that wasn't luck. That was, I don't know about that. But as far as when he threw it, it was the bowling center was completely full with an hour waiting list and nobody seemed to bother him. But as a coach, a lot of what I do is based on sound, how the pins sound when they hit, because here it's so quiet. So I'm very in tune to how your ball makes noise. So with a string pin that wasn't the same noise, it would take me a while to get used to it. I would imagine in 3 months, I'd have it figured out. If I had to coach only on string, in 3 months, I would know all the ins and outs.
Is the pins, are they the same material as a regular pin setter? They just have strings on them?
I haven't gone ever that deep into the thing.
Okay.
They look, they fell this on the good shots. They looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
And then he shot a couple 9 pins. He actually got the pin up out of the deck, so you can make a spare. That you can make a split. Only thing I noticed, the string part that I think will hurt the most will be one specific group. I think seniors are going to hate it. Because once your ball speed gets below a certain number, like when you watch some of the seniors, they hit half pocket and they get that 5 and they get that little 5-pin move and they strike, in which they're there to have fun and strike. On string pins, that is non-existent. They leave 4 5/7s and 5/7s every ball.
Interesting.
There's not much pin action.
Okay.
Because they're tethered.
Right.
So the part, and some of the seniors that I coach at some bowling centers that have string, some of my seniors have lost 20 pins in average, and they're bowling as good as ever bowled. Then they'll go down the street and bowl somewhere else, and they'll shoot 580. When they go back there, like, I'm 170, now I can't shoot 500 because I cannot throw a double. I'm a little concerned. I'm concerned about that group. Because that group does make up a big part of our sport.
What is the easiest and the hardest thing for you to coach?
Oh, the hardest, the easiest is easy. The easiest is, man, this is going to sound terrible. The hardest thing for me to coach are lefties that are really good at league that want to bowl sport shots. They average 230. They drift about 15 left. They kind of come over the top and they can throw it 100 between 5 and 10. And they want to bowl sport. I'm like, if I fix your game, if I get you both going sport, you're not going to be the king on house shot. And they don't like that too much. So that's been my one. The guys that don't really practice, they average 230 and they kind of do it uniquely. That average is, and I want to bowl sport shots. I'm like, you may not want to do that. Because if you get better at sport, you're not going to be as good at, it's hard to be good at league and sport. Most pros like bowling sport shots. They don't like bowling league.
Right.
Like when I was on tour, I was a terrible league bowler. But when I quit bowling on tour, I became a great league bowler, but a terrible tournament bowler. It's hard to be good at tournaments and league at the same time. You don't see many bowlers who master both. The easiest, I would say, are the kids that want to bowl, the two-handed kids, and any of the kids that want to get, anybody that tries hard. So I have most of my lessons, I charge enough. I've never said it in 30,000 lessons, hey, I don't think you're trying today. I don't think you're giving me any effort. I charge too much. I charge enough where people try hard. So the hardest part, that's just that one unique guy, and they bowl, and I watch them bowl, and they literally throw 10, 15 in a row. I'm like, you really want to change this? Yeah, but when you bowl sport shots and you drift that far left and you turn your thumb that early, oh my God, any kind of long pattern, your ball never hooks. It never hooks. And I bowl short, I'm like, that's a hard one to fix because they always want the specific thing. I want to bowl better on sport. I said, but you're going to have to sacrifice being the man where you bowl in league. And that's a hard sell. But the two-handers, the kids are easy to coach.
Why do you think that is, that you seem to have to develop your game either for league or sport shot?
Because of the ratios.
Okay.
So most house shots don't tend to oil between 5 and 10 much anymore.
Right.
So there's all that free hook.
And sports is very flat.
Well, sports to me starts out 1-to-1 and they just add some shape to it. Whereas, some houses are 20-to-1. It's not really 20-to-1, it's 20-to-0. They literally, if you go down to the back, hey, I'm very fortunate here I go down the back of my lane. I look around all the time. If you go down to the pin deck or where the curtain is here, if you look back, my lane's the same color across the lane. If you go down to a typical bowling center at the pin deck or the right of the lane and you look back, 1 through 10 is a different color than the rest of the lane. They never oil it. So it's a lighter shade. So the part where the oil is a much darker part of the lane, and that part's much wider. So because on sports shots, your ball roll has to be, if you watch the tour players, it's so much more forward with rotation. And the people that are good at league tend to have a lot of rotation because their product, their environment, they're thumbing it a little bit because they're taking the dry away.
Mm-hmm.
When they get it right, it doesn't go Brooklyn. When they get it in, it doesn't. So they tend to thumb it and throw it pretty hard, which is the opposite way. That's why so many people that go to nationals struggle that are really high average bowlers.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because the guys that bowl for a living, they tend to get it rolling more forward, so the ball comes off the pattern going forward. And they got so much rotation. They're waiting for the lane or the dry to make their ball go forward. And the tournament bowlers are making their ball go forward with their hand.
Okay.
So I see the big difference there.
Because a house shot does kind of make you want to almost spin it a little bit so that you can almost spin it through the dry and then come back, right. Where if you do that on a sports shot, it's never going to pick up.
So that's where I see the biggest difference because of, and a lot of the house, oil is expensive. So, people, they come here like, wow, you got a lot of oil. I just have my ratio is only 5-to-1. It's a training center. I want it to be not impossible, but I want you to throw it really good to throw a strike. I don't want any free strikes because I don't want you getting a false sense of like, I'm throwing it great because I'm striking because I don't have any oil right at 5. That doesn't do you any good. Here you get it right at 5, it misses the head pin. So here when they get dialed in, like, wow, I'm way more accurate than I thought. I'm like, yeah, because you have to be. People are very result oriented. When they see their ball do the right thing, like, oh, I need to do this and this to get my ball do that, they'll do it. So if the lanes give you a lot of room and you don't have to be as specific to strike, you won't.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
Ozempic. That's why Ozempic does sell so well. Change your diet and exercise. Just have a shot.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing the sport of bowling right now?
Lack of bowling centers.
Okay.
That's it. Bowling's killing it. This whole high school. I wish California had high school. High school bowling is huge. Just college bowling is amazing. The World Series of Bowling's got 200 entries. They got every other entries from somewhere international. That's a lot of money to come over here, and these guys can bowl. So I think bowling's on an upswing. The ladies tour is doing good. Nationals has good events. Every 5-gamer or 8-gamer. There's so many tournaments every weekend. I see on Facebook all these people bowling. There's so much stuff going on. I just think we wish we had some more bowling centers. There has to be the ability to practice. You got to have time to get on the lanes. So the guy's trying to make money. So a lot of open play. And then because of that, they don't tend to, a lot of the centers don't tend to oil them very much. Some of the chains tend to oil them Thursday night and then Monday. Hard to practice on Sunday when they haven't oiled in 2 days at $12 a game.
Right, exactly.
So you want the guys to get better, but you're making it a hindrance to get, I'm saying, hey, I want you to bowl more, but they make more money on this. I'm like, okay, there's got to be somewhere in the middle on that.
Right.
So that's kind of how I see it. I just wish there were more bowling centers.
What do you think the future of bowling is, and how do you see it evolving?
I don't really think like that too much. I just want to work. I know tomorrow I got a really good day with one guy for 7 hours. He already texted me this morning, flying from Tennessee, super, super smart lawyer. And he's going to ask amazing questions for 7 hours, and we're going to have a great time. And then Friday and Saturday I'm full, and next week's pretty good. I don't really get past that.
Yeah.
I've never tried to be the guy with the answer for that kind of big stuff like that. Because as soon as you think, as soon as you get emotionally involved with what the outcome should be, and it never is, then you get frustrated.
Yeah.
I'm not frustrated. I love my sport. I got lucky. I quit bowling. I had back surgery and I quit the tour, and then I bowled pretty good in the league and I quit that. I never got where I got salty with bowling. Some of my friends that bowled on tour, some of the guys, I hate bowling now. Bowling gave me everything I ever had. So bowling's always been pretty good to me. I just wanted to keep going. I think this junior thing, like when my son bowls the JBTs and he bowls the JETs out here in California in the West Coast, and just about every event sold out.
Wow.
As long as that keeps happening, I walk in there, obviously I want my son to bowl good. But I look around, like this weekend was a JBT out at Bulliam and at Cal and Lakewood and out there in Montclair. And the Montclair was 32 lanes. It was full, 7 on a pair. I'm like, this is really, these guys that are doing this, you need those volunteers, Jeff Hemmer and this guy, Dave Yamuchi, that do the JT. They're just great guys, and they're all over the United States. They do these things like that. It's if you ever lose that, we're in trouble. As long as that junior tournaments keep selling out, and these SYCs and these PBA juniors and all the things they do. I went to the SYC for Storm a month ago in Vegas. It was just sold out, and the people know each other, and bowling has always been about community. That's when they close the bowling centers, the seniors have nowhere to go. So when I go to Winnetka out in the valley once a month, I see the same people every time. They're here 5 days a week. So the bowling has been about community. My camp bakes I do twice a year. I've done my 44th camp coming up. The people that come to camp a lot. They come to camp to see their friends. They come to camp to have 36 other people in the room that love bowling as much as they love it. So there's a big community to bowling. So that's why we need more centers, because every center is its own community. So that's how I've always seen bowling. If I start a rumor today with you, it'll get to Maine and Sweden by 2:00 this afternoon. Mark Baker's the president of USBC. Chad Murphy appointed him. What? He's going to give him a $500,000 a year raise? And you just throw it out there and I'll get phone calls. Really? You're going to move to Texas? No. I wouldn't want that job for all the tea in China.
Tell me a little bit about your camps and what people can expect when they attend.
Man, I don't ever brag about my camps. I never talk about them. I don't. It's hard to. It sounds so. I hate doing it. I grew up. I have a hard time talking about myself as a bowler. So because I grew up playing basketball, if you walked into the gym and told everybody how good you were for sure never getting picked. If you walked in and had a little bit of game, they knew who you were. Hey man, you want to run next game? Yeah, you're out. He's in.
Yeah,
that's how you got good. So I never quite got this whole tell everybody how good I am thing. So I never quite, that's always been a tough one for me. So, but my camp, it's our 18th, 19th year. We've done my 44th camp coming up. It's at twice a year in Henderson, Nevada. It tends to skew a little bit older, a little bit older group. They can get time off during the day and then they can afford it. It's $1,400, expensive. But we've done 44 of them. They've all been sold out. And it's 3.5 days of bowling. I got, the best group of coaches you could ever have. I have, Dave Husted, Barry Asher, Doug Kent, Robin Romeo, Steve Jacobs, Steve Smith. So I got, a great group of people. We all get along. We have a great time. We tell a few stories, do a lot of, they just bowl so much. They bowl so much and they love it. And so it's kind of runs its own thing. I don't brag about it much. Then people come there, they say, how come we don't promote it? How do you promote it? It's 36 people in the room that like bowling as much as you. You get put on your group of people for the week, your group of 6, and they're cheering each other on and they get to know each other and they're all friends and they talk to each other. And when somebody has somebody in their family die and they post that, the next 20 people that they say, I'm sorry, are all people they went to camp with. And my camp's really cool that way. The people that come are super nice. I've had very, 44 camps. I've had very few issues. It's a lot of work. I mean, a lot of work behind the scenes, but once it's there, once camp's going, then it's really, really rewarding. Like right now is the grind time. It's in April 29th. Getting all the people pay and all the room reservations and everything done is always kind of tricky, but it's twice a year. We do it that's who the coaches are. We do it in Henderson, Nevada, end of April, and then sometime in October. And it just kind of, I don't think on my website I have this year's dates on it, so I'm not much terrible at it, and it still sells enough.
What advice would you give to someone who is considering wanting to get into coaching and maybe even make it a career one day?
Man, I get that question a lot. That's the one thing I try to figure out a new business all the time and different revenue streams. And I always thought I would be coaching the coaches at some point, but that seems to never really good because they always kind of tell me they already know that. So I don't try to help too many people coach because it just gets to be an argument. But if you're going to coach, I was very fortunate that I threw a few strikes. So I got my foot in the door because of who I was. But then you got to learn how to coach. And the only way you get good at coaching is by coaching a lot. So you've got to find ways to get on the lanes and get better at your craft because it really is a job. It's not, it's not me telling you what to do. There's so many people I coach, they're my friends now. I think for what I do, I'm as much psychologist as I am a coach. So you got to, and you have to I don't have much patience in my life, but I have a lot of patience when I coach. Because I know how hard they're trying, and I was very fortunate to be good at this game, I know how hard it is to be good. So I had whenever they have a bad day, I had a worse day. I said, usually they were on TV. I had bad days. So I understand, I have empathy for when they struggle making a spare or, the lanes change, they can't adjust. So coaching, you better be, you have to have some patience. And it's not like patience in life, because I'm very impatient. But when I come to coaching, when they try hard, I have all the patience in the world, and they're very nice people. So, and you really have to understand how business works. I've never tried to be the best coach. I don't know where I rank, and it's all subjective, so it's all irrelevant anyways. But I did want to be the busiest. I am super competitive, as you can't tell. I am wound tight, and I am competitive. So I'm trying to I just want to be, I have one goal when I started coaching, and it's a crazy goal. I know it makes no sense to anybody, but I have one goal. I just want to be McDonald's French fries. That's all my job is.
Yep. Be the business.
Because I never get upset when you go see another coach in my area. Hey, I'm going to go see this guy. Okay. He's not charging what you, fine.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, you always end up back at McDonald's French fries. You go try Carl's Jr., go try Wendy's, go try Jack and Fries, go try everybody else. Sooner or later, you come back to the best fries in the world.
Yeah.
I know that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But that's how I run my business. I don't ever get mad at anybody that goes somebody else. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But if I do my job and I get the right done, I have to be, if you're going to be a coach, you got to be able to leave whatever's bothering you in life at the door. Because what part of what I am is enthusiastic, and I'm up and I can tell a few stories and I've got an analogy for everything. I really am curious about what they do for a living. So I coach some of the most successful people in the world. That's always said it. I think it's a Southern California thing. I've been very fortunate because of where I live, no matter what. 40 years ago, when I said people off from Southern California, they always tell me how great it was. Now, when I travel and I say I'm from Southern California, they tell me how sorry they are for me. I'm like, still a pretty cool place to live. It's expensive as hell, but it's still pretty cool. I don't shovel much snow.
Yeah, that's very true.
I don't coach bowlers. I coach successful people who happen to bowl. And I treat them like that. Too many times in our sport, the person with the highest average has the biggest nuts. That's backwards as a coach. All because you average 230 don't make you a better person than average the guy's 105. Because I got a bunch of guys that average 105 that can buy and sell every bowling center they go into. What do you do? I'm executive vice president of bowling. What do you do? I coach some people who are severely successful. So I try to learn more from them as I do they learn from me. So a lot of things I come up with are some things that people say they just kind of randomly say it, and then it really helps me as a coach. So I'm very curious to what all my people do for a living, what they're that kind of thing. So For one, it makes me coach. You can't coach engineers the same way you coach a self-employed guy. I mean, they're just completely 180 degrees different human beings. The engineer, I have a lot of engineers that take 2-hour lessons. In the first 90 minutes, we just talk. They literally have pages of notes. And most of it doesn't relate to their own game. They just want to know because that's how they're wired. Self-employed guy has employees that don't show up on time. They got to deal with the taxes. They got to deal with sales. They got to deal with, inventory. They got to deal with Cisco forgetting to show up with all their stuff today. They got to deal with, all self-employed, all these things, and they got to have sales. So they tend to take about a 45-minute lesson. They pay me too much. Man, their phone, I can hear their phone. Ring, ring, ring. Dude, answer your phone. I got to go. Here's 200. See you. Bye.
Yeah.
Great. See you later. 2 weeks. You're good, brother. Engineers like, well, it's minute 59, 30 seconds. We got 30 more seconds, right? You bet we do.
Yeah.
Engineers are wired different than they are. So you have to coach different.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it fun. If you're going to be a coach, you got to like people. I think people are interesting. And some, you got some people that you coach 1 or 2 a month that, they're not your favorite people in the world, but you still got to pay Edison every month. You got to pay Kaiser. Chevron's, do I get a discount because of this? I'm like, you know what? There's a discount if you get Kaiser not to charge me this month.
Yeah.
I go to Chevron to fill up and they say, you know what? Today you help that person out of the goodness of your heart. We're going to let you have a free tank of gas. You pull that off, I'll give you a discount.
Yeah.
I charge full fare everybody. I don't give anybody a discount.
Yep. I understand that.
Most coaches are always trying to figure out what the lowest, just go higher. Either you're good at what you do or you're not. No, I mean, I don't make any bones about that. All because you got some classification as a coach will make you a coach. I don't believe in any of that crap. How many lessons have you given? Show me your tax returns. What? That's what you should do. You want to become a certain color coach? Show tax returns and write down how much money you made as a coach. If people aren't willing to give you money, you're not very good at it.
It's very true.
I'm brutal when it comes to this. I don't take any prisoners.
No, it's very true. I agree with you.
I've done it for 16 years, and it's a very fun life, but it's tricky. I mean, I'm constantly having to book lessons. I mean, you want to do the number I do every day of the year, I have to book at least 3 new lessons. That gets me to 1,000. That means we don't go on vacation. So the coach, you have to run it like a business. And you can't be afraid to charge whatever it is you want to charge. But you have to be in control and you have to be on time and you got to know what you're doing. Being a coach is not as easy as everybody thinks. Or else there'd be more coaches, I guess. It all depends what you want. I mean, without being mean, but being very, very mean, if you're giving 5 lessons a week, you're not very good at coaching. You know why? Public library will prove me true. Go to the public library and go find a book on anybody who's been successful in life. And you get to the page that says they work 20 hours a month and they became the best in the world or whatever they chose to be.
That's true.
Can't find that book.
Nope. It's not out there.
So people are paying you for expertise. The only way you become expert at anything is reps. Malcolm Gladwell was right. You got to be an outlier. You got to get your 10,000 hours in. So get 10,000 hours in and track them. I can show you every single year what I've done. I track everything. You have to. I mean, it's a business. To get good at it, when they hand you cash or it's a business. Treat it as such. That's how I look at it. So it's been very good to me, but I really, really, it's my 16th year and I'm working at it, not harder, but I'm still working at it as much as I ever did. I really enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can tell you enjoy it.
Well, you do 30, 40 lessons in a week. It's not a bad week.
Yeah. What do you think is the greatest advice you've ever been given about bowling or life?
Yeah. Mark Roth about bowling, not about life. That life didn't come from bowling. I don't ever go to bowlers for advice for stuff like that. I go to my family. Very successful people in my family. Don't live a life of quiet desperation. That was my dad, Henry Thoreau. Get out there and give it when my time comes, and who knows when it is, as tight as I'm wired, it might be tomorrow. I'm sliding into the pearly gates head first. How'd I do? I'm not walking in I'm going to give it all I got. So I've always taken a full swing. If I wanted to be rich, I'd have been a bond trader or a pharmaceutical salesman. I'd have been a multimillionaire. But I like bowling. So, I mean, isn't it about the money? But the best advice I was ever given on tour was Mark Roth. We roomed together one year, 85, my best year on tour. And I made my 3rd or 4th finals in a row, top 24. I bowled a really big set. and to get to like 23rd, and this is a good story. We were in a rent-a-car. One thing Mark wasn't very good at was driving. He was a terrible driver. Hard to drive when you got a cigarette in your mouth at all times. So I pretty much drove everywhere. He would rent every other week. He rent the car. He rented it, but I drove. We were in Kansas City at Overland Park, and I get in the car. You know, when they announce your name, the top 24 of the bowling alley, you got to stay kind of cool. When you get in the car, you know, I was still like 24 years old. So I get in the car, and then I was pumped 4 weeks in a row. I'm backing myself for the first time, so it's my money. So I punched the roof of the car like 3 or 4 times. Yes, yes, yes. And, Mark qualified second like every week, and he just nonchalantly that. Why are you beating up my car? I'm like, 4 finals in a row, and he goes, so what? I'm like, dude, 4 finals in a row, and he goes, well, if you can't make at least 50% of the finals against these guys, you should go home. I go, what? And he goes, remember this. At any given time, there's 30 great bowlers in the world, and they all live on tour. You only got to beat 7 to make the finals. The rest are schlep rocks. Mark was a cartoon guy. Flintstones. I had to figure out what that was. Like, what do you mean? He goes, schlep rocks. He goes, you can't beat 7 guys and go home. Like, okay. And he goes, now what do you smoke? We're not going anywhere. I'm like, okay, that's good advice. All right. And I ended up making 23 out of 29 finals that year. So obviously I took it to heart. One of the highest finals totals anybody's ever had on tour. I'm not sure anybody's beat it since because they don't bowl 20 events. So I got them beat. So yeah, nobody now is beating my record. So he goes, what's your goal tonight? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm 23rd. I want to go. So of course I went, I want to go 4-4. I want to shoot 200 over. I want to get to 10th. And he goes, what are you talking about? You only have one job. And I go, what's that? And he goes, 5th. 5th. He goes, get to 5th as fast as you can. Like, I'm 23rd. He goes, I don't want to hear where you are. Get to 5th. I go, why? He goes, because that's your only job every week is to be 5th. I'm like, well, you never qualify 5th. He goes, well, I'm not worried about 1st or 2nd. I'm worried about 5th. My job is to be 5th every week. Like, I'm not getting it. I'm like, Mark, but you lead or 2nd every week. And he goes, yeah, because I'm not worried about it. I'm always in the hunt with 3 to go. Then I shoot 675 and I win 2 and I move up a spot. Everybody's worried about leading it or worrying about this. I don't worry about that. I just want to be 5th. And I'm still not getting it. I'm like, I don't get the 5th thing. You're never 5th. I go, why is 5th so important? And he took a big drag on his cigarette, blew it right in my face. He goes, because you can't win from 6th. So now,
very true.
If you look it up, the 85 King Louis Open, I take it the next step. Guess who bowls the first match against each other? Me and Ross. I was 5th. He was 4th. So we get on a TV show. We bowl one of the better games I bowled on TV. A double attempt to beat him. I throw the first one pure. To this day, I don't know what happened on that second shot. I threw it flush. And I don't know how it hooked a 4-pin. I pick it up, and he beats me in the roll-off. Now, you're not supposed to smoke on TV back in the day. Roth had his own rules. He's smoking, and this end, he goes, Mark Roth, he goes, hey, kid, go get me a cup of coffee, 1 cream, 1 sugar real quick. We're on the TV show. He goes, I beat you that match, so you owe me a coffee. And so I pick my stuff up, and he grabbed me by the arm. He goes, by the way, I didn't tell you how to win them roll-offs yet, did I? And he winked, and I went and got his coffee. Greatest thing I ever learned. I made about 20 shows the next 3 years, and I made a lot of finals.
Wow.
I started expecting to make the finals. I only got to beat 7 guys.
Wow. That's a great story.
That changed how I looked at bowling because Mark looked at it different. He just expected to be in the top 5. And obviously, if you're Mark Roth, but just the way he looked at it, he never worried about it. So that really helped me as a bowler. I never thought I was that good until he said I was. Once Mark Roth said, you should make the finals every week as good as you bowl. Well, I didn't know Mark Roth, you were watching me bowl. We roomed together. We never, the guys I room with, we never talked bowling. Dave Husted had rules. So when the rent-a-car or the car we were in left the parking lot of the bowling center, no more bowling was talked about ever. When the wheels of the car came back into the bowling center parking lot, we could talk about bowling. I mean, we never asked each other where they played. We didn't ask each other what ball we threw. We never talked about it ever.
Interesting. Why was that the rule?
They worked perfect. We never talked about it. Dave was, nothing really bothered Dave, but that's how we did it.
Yeah. Why was that the rule that he came up with?
Because I would talk about it incessantly. Did you see my shot in the 4th? I'm on a double. Ferraro trips a 4. I leave a solid 8. That son of a bitch gets lucky every week. He only plays 10. I mean, I would just go on and I would go off for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And Dave was like, well, let's go to TGI on Friday and get a piece of chocolate cake. Dave was just, Dave was just so over here and I was so over there. He had to make the rule to calm me down. I was just overly wound up.
So I have a few more questions, but first, would you tell me What is the funniest story out on tour with you and Dave?
That's easy. So Dave stayed with Columbia, and they didn't have they didn't have a urethane ball. This is how droll Dave is. I'll never forget this. So we're bowling, and for 2 years, Dave was throwing yellow dots, and we were throwing black angles. And it got his swing screwed up. His swing was all coming from the top right, now that I know, because he was, every practice session from 82, 83, 84, Dave and I, room together. So I would throw yellow dots with Dave in practice, and I had nothing. And then it would come the tournament, and I would throw my black angle, and I would bowl pretty good. Because all of a sudden, you're throwing an angle, and he's throwing a yellow dot. It's a big advantage. Urethane, they had the orange dot. One of the worst ball ever invented. So Dave was really handcuffed for a couple of years, not being able to throw urethane equipment because he was with Columbia, and he's the most loyal person in the world. And then 85, they came out with the black U dot. Obviously, things changed. So Dave hadn't won since like 82, 85. We bowled the Tournament Players Championship in Saginaw. Whatever it is they decided to do that week, they just put so much oil down. It was fifth arrow, fourth arrow fallback. Dave and I were both really good at that. I led it. Roth was second. Then it was Mark Williams was third. Then Dave, I don't know who bowled, but Dave ran over the marks. He beat Williams, Roth, and Baker. So I bowled Dave for the title. He hadn't won in a couple of years. He doesn't even bowl the 10th frame. I think he shoots 260. I shot 239, 238. I ended up being high average. I needed to shoot 221 last game of the year to beat Holman. I got to, strike a double in the 10th to beat Holman for high average, which was really cool. Only right-hander not in the Hall of Fame when the high average worked for me. I'm the fly in the ointment there. Me and John Gant. Two strong, and the lanes were the ugliest, 85, 86. The two best athletes, the two strongest guys were high average, me and Gant. So Dave beats you for the title. It's very emotional. He's, he hasn't won in 3 years. So now it's like an hour later, 2 hours later. Well, now Dave's going to fly home that night. I'm flying home the next morning. So, Dave's got his suitcase. Dave was already packed in the car. But come on, Bakes, give me a ride to the airport, blah, 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 blah. And he's got this stupid trophy, whatever. So we get in the car, and he puts the thing in there. He puts the trophy in the back seat and the thing in the trunk. Well, come on, we got to go get your flight. So we drive like 20 feet in the parking lot, and Dave starts screaming, stop, just stop the car now. I think something's wrong, like we forgot his check. Dude, what's wrong? He goes, just stop the car. Just put it in park. And he's going on and on and on. Like, what do you mean? He goes, oh my God, I almost forgot. This is the worst thing ever. What? And he goes, put it in park. I put the car in park. Dave goes, wait a second. So Dave gets out, goes to the back seat, opens the door, and he put the seatbelt across the trophy. Then he got back in the car, and he goes, all right, man, give me the airport. I got to go home with my trophy. Only two guys in the world ever there in that car were me and him.
Oh, that is funny.
I mean, and then to this day, I give him, he goes, well, nice trophy.
Yeah.
So you can't get him to leave character after that bit. I mean, that was Dave.
Yeah.
The only person that saw it was me, and it's just Dave. So that's the kind of guy he was.
What is your definition of success?
Oh, doing something you love. We measure it by money, and money does allow you to do a lot of things in life, but success is getting up and not hating what you do. I do coach quite a few people. I can tell the people that don't like their job because, like, what's going on? 9 years, 3 months, and 2 days. What? That's how long till I have to retire and quit my job. I'm not sure I'm going to make it. And they invariably take the early payoff to get out. I'm going to coach till I die. I'm never retired. This is too much fun. I know a lot of guys who won a lot of tournaments that are miserable bastards. I don't know how successful they were. I know some guys that never won on tour. And one of my best friends, a guy named Mark Sullivan in Indianapolis, one of the nicest guys I ever met in my life. And he's very successful, and he's, just a happy guy. And, he's retired and debt free, and he's living a great life. So I think he's a great success.
Sometimes the people with the biggest bank account are the most miserable.
Because it's never enough, I guess.
Yeah.
I've never had that problem. I'm a bowling coach, so I do okay, but I'm not, I'm not, taking a private jet to England to play the rotation of the British Open courses anytime soon. Yeah, so success is about everybody measures it different.
Yeah,
I like what I do. I really do like what I do. The people are nice. I coach a very nice group of people. I think because I charge enough, 140 an hour, that, the other parts of the country, oh my God, I would never pay that. Great, whatever. But that's what I charge. And I work hard when I do it. But because I charge that rate, you eliminate people that don't want to get better. But because of that, the people that come in here, they know what it costs. And I'm sure it's expensive. So they give me undivided attention and they're here to work. So then we're really, it's a collaboration more than coaching and student. I've never called any people, I've never called any of my people students. They're just people that I coach.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what it is. I don't have students. I don't see them as that way.
I'd much rather spend, 2 hours of coaching than buy a new bowling ball, because 2 hours of coaching is going to get me a lot further with what I have than that new fancy bowling ball that they say is going to, knock all the pins down.
Everything. Yeah, but I refer a lot of balls. I'll tell you what, that's the nice part about it. They come in here and they throw some shots. Let me see what you got. Okay, right there's your hole. I think you should get this. I don't give out, when I do give out recommendations for balls, they tend to be pretty good. So I don't push it very hard, but I do sell a ton of balls. That's probably the most common question in the lesson. What ball should I get next? Show me what you got. Where do you bowl? What are you missing? Let's pick a ball specifically, not just a ball. So I'm pretty good at that for not being a guy who's ever drilled a ball in his life.
What would you say is your most prized possession?
My best possessions, I got a pretty good group of friends. Houston, I got emotional about. Chris Barnes, I got a guy named Barry Asher that I can run everything by. I've always been, tight with my sisters and my family. I got a good family. But my possessions, I don't really have, I never kept any of the, I think I have one trophy. The last trophy I won was Portland, the 1990 Oregon Open. The trophy was just too big to throw away. A big piece of granite. It's really heavy. So I have an intruder in my house. I'm going to hit him with that. But I kept the high average award. George Young, I kept that trophy, and I made first team All-American. I made McDonald's High School All-American as a basketball player, the top 100 kids in the country, I think it was. Some plaque from some little thing from McDonald's that year selected. That would be you would never know I was a bowler if you came to my house. I have nothing displayed. I was pretty cool. I had the picture of the Columbia staff. We had a bunch of studs, George Branham and Marshall and Ferraro and Ozio and Husted and Palombi and Kreitz, Steele Smith. We were loaded. Bob Hanley. We were loaded. We had a hell of a staff. I have that picture. Other than that, yeah, and I don't have any. I can literally move in 2 hours.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, those trophies, I threw them all away. They were just collecting dust. Every time you moved, you had to pick them up. Like, these aren't. Nobody cares. Like, I made a lot of shows, and I don't think my sons watched half my YouTube shows. You just watch one I never saw. 86 in Miami. I beat Walter and I beat Amleto before Darryl Bauer beat me in a pretty close match, and Ozio won. I'd never seen that show. I was like, wow, I bowled really good that day. I should watch that show more often, not the ones I lose. So I don't have any VHS tapes of any of my bowling. I don't have any. I have one bowling ball to my name, and I use it for Deadwood at the training center. And if that one ever breaks, I'll never drill another ball. So I don't really, I don't have any mementos from tour. I wish I'd taken pictures. That'd have been cool. We did some crazy stuff.
Well, Mark, last question. What is your favorite bowling memory?
Wow. You would think it would be, the first win or the last win. Those were pretty cool. Some of the camps I've done are pretty cool. I would say one of probably the best memory, because now it's over and it's current, not old. When I bowled, I only won 4 times. I was probably supposed to win a little more than that. I was a pretty good athlete, and I probably didn't fulfill my potential there. So I don't think much about that. But one year on the PBA league, when you get to draft, and I never really asked the guys on my team what they thought. I just picked who I wanted. One year I won the first 2 years. First year we loaded the team up. That was unfair. But Barnes and I did a really good job with we actually had real money. We had, Brian Smith, and I had Chris Barnes, Don Barrett, Wes Malott, Tommy Jones. That team's hard to beat. And we just ran them over. And then we won the next year with a different group. I picked Craig Nittifer. I picked Richie Allen. I put him anchor. I had Mika and Barnes. I put Richie last. Tom Doherty. We won with that team. Then we didn't bowl very good for a while. Then one year we did the draft, and Richie was available. And I loved Richie Allen because he has unlimited guts. I just love Richie. He'll throw it for all the money. Boss, I got nothing, but I'll hit the pocket for you. He's always my guy. And then I really had worked with Team USA a lot with AJ Johnson, and he was available, and I took him next to last. And then we went to Maine that year, and we just ran their asses over. We were the only team ever to go undefeated. We smoked everybody. It wasn't a match. I think Barnes spared in the 10th. He spared in the 10th one time to win one game, and he got all 3 in the 10th to make the other guy get 3, and the guy got 2 and 9. Those are the only 2 games we didn't win by 50. We just ran them over. And my family got to come the first time to Maine to see what Maine was about. And then they sang happy birthday to my son when we won that day.
Very nice.
So that day at Maine, the crowd there is unparalleled. So I got my family because my wife's like, yeah, I've heard about Maine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was the first time she went, and we were watching a match that wasn't our match, the first match, and she heard the crowd. She went, "Oh my God, you have to win this. This is amazing. You need to win." I'm like, huh, I'm not throwing any balls, but I'll do my best. So that team we put together was Jesper led off, and then Richie, then AJ, then Tom Doherty, then Barnes. That was the best team. We had the best. That was the best anybody ever bowled that main event. We was the third time we won. So that was probably something I'll never. Nobody ever went undefeated but us. That one was really special, and just how the crowd treated my. Then when like Charlie, when we went there, and Charlie Mitchell's like, "So this is your son Gage, yeah. So where do he pulls Gage over to the TV pair, and he goes, "So where do you think you want to stand?" And then Gage goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, for the TV shows, is there anywhere you want to be?" So Gage goes, "I want to get Gage like right on the right," because he was sitting. If you look at that year, he's littler, wearing glasses. "I want to stand right here on the bench." So Charlie went and got tape and taped off Gage's spot and wrote Gage Baker only there. Gage stood there for every match of that weekend. He did not ever leave. It's, "Dad, I have to be there." Charlie said so. So stuff like that is a memory you can never get back. So the way Charlie treated my son, I will never forget that. And and now when we watch it back, because now Gage is taller than me at 6'4". See, that was when you were a fun kid. You actually listened. So those shows, I mean, that was a week of bowling that I'll never forget. We won. We went undefeated. My son turned whatever 8 or 9 then. That was fun. That was a good memory.
Well, Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure having this chance to talk to you. Thanks for sharing all the memories and all your bowling advice and wisdom. I really appreciate it.
Hey, it was a blast. This was obviously I have no problem talking, but bowling's been good to me. So obviously, I mean, I have pretty much positive things to say about it. And anybody on the fence, go out there and bowl and just find somebody fun to bowl with. That's all you can do. And don't be afraid to take a lesson.
Sounds good.
People that get better don't quit.
Well, thank you so much again. I really appreciate it.
You bet, guys. Thank you.